What's going on, everybody? So I'm just going to get straight to this point with a disclaimer. If you are a Sony or Nintendo fanboy, you might as well click off this video right now. Just save your time. Because I'm going to be the voice of reason to people that are absolutely naive to think that prices on goods and services should just remain static, should remain the same. Now, of course, I'm referring to this crazy story that seems to continue to evolve and continue to persist, and that is the whole Game Pass situation, Game Pass Ultimate. And, you know, there's a couple of things I want to show, depending on how long you stick with the video. If you're new to the channel, welcome. And hopefully by the end of this video, you will become a new member, of the channel, and subscribe to the channel if I've earned that. But yeah, I want to share a few tweets from a few people, and their names are irrelevant. No disrespect to them, but what they're stating is relevant, and I want to break that down. But first, before I get into that, I just want to reiterate to people that prices on things go up. Okay, so I just find it hilarious to me that grown men and women, but mostly grown men I'm seeing on social media, are bitching and complaining over the fact that Microsoft decided to increase their Game Pass Ultimate membership, a membership, mind you, that gives you access to 470 plus games. They're bitching over a $10 increase. Now, I want to highlight this particular language that they keep using. Now it's not incorrect, but they keep stating 50%. It's a 50% increase. Now, while that is true, but you have to understand how things sound, perception. If I were to have $2.50, let's say if I had $2.50, now my math isn't the greatest, but 50% increase of $2.50 is now $5. Big fucking deal, $2.50. However, if we were to use that same 50% to apply to $250, now that becomes $500. So there's a difference when it comes to the perception and how language is being used to describe certain things. And I want people to understand this, because it does matter. It does matter. So I'm going to go and share my screen right now, and I want to share this particular. Now, like I said, this guy, he's irrelevant. No disrespect to him, but he puts these prices here, right? Game Pass versus PS Plus. So let me just come out and say this right off the bat. And this is why I said what I said about the Nintendo and Sony fanboys. PlayStation Plus is essentially a poor man's knockoff of Game Pass. I want people to understand that PlayStation, the people behind PlayStation, have said repeatedly in the past, and I remember this because I'm a lifelong gamer, that they essentially had no belief in Game Pass. They felt it was unsustainable, that this is not the direction that they want to take Sony, the PlayStation brand in. I remember all of this. I also remember Sony executives at the time that would say that we would never put our exclusives on PC. Well, they fucking did that. So when it comes to this aspect, comparing the cherry picking pricing like this, to me, is disingenuous because it doesn't tell the full story. It doesn't tell the full story that actually each one of these tiers for Xbox Game Pass, you're actually getting greater value. You're getting more games. Like, for instance, on the PlayStation Premium side, for $160 over the course of a year, you're getting about 350 to 400 games. On the Xbox side, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, you're getting a lot of perks, some of which are actually better. and you have access to over 470 games. And to my understanding, PlayStation Plus, while you can stream those titles to your PlayStation consoles and PC, Xbox allows you to do that in addition to mobile devices as well. Now, that may or may not matter to you, but that extra layer of usage and accessibility, it does come with a cost. And given the fact that Microsoft has been doing this for quite a longer period of time than Sony when it comes to these subscription-based type of things, that Sony essentially X-copied over off of Microsoft, Microsoft does a better job at it. Now, I want to go over to this next one because this is the one that I feel is just the most hilarious to me. Now, this individual, I'm from what I can understand, this Clobro guy, I don't know him personally, but he seems to be very prominent, an Xbox supporter, I believe. And but like I said, the names are irrelevant, and I want to be clear, it's no disrespect to them, but what they're saying is, so this guy says that currently aggressive ads everywhere in the OS. First of all, that is a complete lie. Ads are not everywhere. Okay, that's an exaggeration. Full screen promotions of sales. So let me get this straight. So as a company does not have the right to promote their products or services on their own platform? Is that the land we're in now? So anyway, the only relevant Xbox OS changes that customers receive these days exist to increase per customer spending. Wish list enhancements, game cards you need to turn off to directly start your game, or else you'll see a glimpse of. I've seen this. I personally don't have an issue with this. This gentleman does, and probably maybe even you as well. But as he just said, you can turn it off. Again, Microsoft gives you that option. If you don't want to see those game cards, you can just turn them off. So what's the fucking problem? So the problem is that people like this gentleman here, they don't like that it's there, period. Irregardless of the fact that you can turn it off. So I have to, it's funny to me because none of this makes sense to me. This is a business, people. I understand it's video games. You pick up a controller, you mash your buttons. I get it. But at the end of the day, it is a business. I don't know how and why people seem to have this disconnect when they accept the auto industry, they accept other industries, but when it comes to video games, they actually believe that this is anything but a business. I just find this hilarious to me. So to move forward, all development resources used to bring Xbox PC forward, Xbox consoles basically feel like being in maintenance mode. That is his opinion, and he is entitled to that. 2 console price raises in 1 year. Okay. So I guess we're just going to ignore the fact that Sony increased their pricing as well. In fact, I believe they increased the pricing of their consoles earlier. And also, when it comes to the second price increase of Microsoft, it has a lot to do with the tariffs. Now, I cannot confirm nor deny that, but let's just assume that the tariff is the actual reason for the Xbox hardware increase. As a business, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to break this down again. It is well known, maybe not by you, but somebody like myself that does the research, that the Xbox hardware is the least performing metric in the Xbox division. The peripherals and Game Pass are the ones that are pulling in the most money. Now, while there are people that are still purchasing Xbox consoles, the Xbox hardware is not doing as well as, say, PlayStation hardware. So if the tariff situation is accurate, it makes sense for Microsoft to put the brunt of those tariff costs onto their hardware and not spread it across everything else that is selling well, to not rock the boat. Now, at the time I reported on this on my channel, Game Pass prices did not change at that time. It might have been a few weeks ago when I did that particular video. But now, Microsoft decided to raise the price of Game Pass Ultimate by a whopping $10. Oh my God. The world is fucking ending. It's $10, people. So all of this outrage over $10. Let's go on. So he says price hikes on Xbox accessories. We're really going to talk about accessories pricing when you have Nintendo that never, if ever, has any meaningful sales on any of their fucking products, and their accessories are through the fucking roof. But we're not going to keep that same energy, of course. Okay. All right. The expensive ROG Xbox Ally hardware. First of all, let's just talk about that real quick. Number one, I have also said this, that I understand what Microsoft is doing with the Xbox ROG. They are in a prime position to gauge the barometer, read the room, so to speak, on whether or not people have an interest in Xbox handheld technology. So given the fact that this Xbox ROG is developed by ASUS are the ones controlling the price of this hardware. The only thing Microsoft has done, if you want to really just get down to brass tacks, is Microsoft developed the software that ASUS can utilize and integrate with their handheld offering that they were going to make regardless. Because the ASUS ROG, to my understanding, is a competitor of the Steam Deck. They're competitors in that handheld market, that PC handheld market. So Microsoft is in that position where, okay, we're going to create an offshoot of our Xbox UI, our ecosystem, for you, ASUS, to utilize on your platform. Of course, I'm sure Microsoft gets a few kickbacks, I'm pretty sure, but the brunt of the pricing, the brunt of the financial decisions comes from ASUS, because it is ASUS's device. It is ASUS's hardware. The Xbox ROG is not Microsoft's hardware. It is ASUS. I don't know how many of you people actually are aware of this, but anyway, hopefully that earned your subscription. I hope. Now, and also just to cover this as well, the reason why I say Microsoft is in a great position for that is because even if the ASUS Xbox ROG does not sell very well, Microsoft does not take a huge financial hit because it was never their own device. They are merely licensing their UI that they created. So it would be different if it was a device created in-house for Microsoft, which it is not. So if the Asus Xbox Rog Ally sells well, that will give Microsoft the actionable data for them in the future to create their own Xbox device in-house that is actual hardware. Now I'm going to move on. A failed attempt at $80 of The Outer Worlds 2. Okay, that's correct. And do you know why they decided to try to go for $80 on The Outer Worlds 2? Well, maybe it has something to do with scum-ass Nintendo that basically opened the doors of $80 games to begin with. And to take it a step further back, who do we have thanks for of the $70 game? Take-Two Interactive. So you can thank Take-Two Interactive for the $70 price tag, and you can thank Nintendo for the $80 price tag of video games. I don't know how many of you are aware of this, but I would love for people to keep that same fucking energy when it comes to other companies actually being the vanguard and starting the movement, but yet and still basically crucify Microsoft for basically doing what another company started. Because like I said, at the end of the day, people, Microsoft and all of these video game companies, these developers, it is a business. Moving on. The failed attempt of Outer Worlds 2, $80 on future Xbox titles probably still stands. Yeah, I guess so. Especially as we move forward toward the 10th generation of gaming, you know, with that PlayStation 6 looming and the upcoming Xbox console that's going to be happening. So yeah, I do see eventually price is going to go up again. Another $10, and we will have an $80 standard when it comes to the future. But again, if you want to blame anybody for $80 and even Microsoft going in that direction with the Outer Worlds that was later pushed back, blame Nintendo. Moving forward, brutal in its scale of massive layoffs. Hold on. Let's talk about that. First of all, those layoffs has nothing to do with the Xbox division. Those layoffs come directly from Microsoft company in general, from Satya Nadella and his team. That has nothing to do with Phil Spencer and the Xbox division. So trying to lump that in with a video game centric tweet here is very disingenuous as far as I'm concerned, because for people who are unaware, I'm going to give you the insight on Microsoft, and I don't agree with this, by the way, but Microsoft has decided to prioritize AI and cloud-based technology. This is the main reason why Azure, the Microsoft's cloud-based tech, they have invested hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, maybe even billions for all I know, in their cloud infrastructure. And they are also pushing, I believe it's their open AI. They're pushing, a lot of companies are pushing AI. So given the fact that from a profitable standpoint, Microsoft is seeing a lot of profit when it comes to AI and cloud, the Xbox division, while the hardware, as I alluded to earlier, is not the main driver of the Xbox division, people are still buying hardware, but it does come down to the cloud and Game Pass, along with peripherals and accessories and such. That is where Microsoft, the Xbox division, is making the bulk of their money. So through the use of Game Pass and utilizing the perks of the cloud and things of that nature, it further, what's the word I'm looking for? It further validates to Microsoft's end that this is the direction that we need to go. And unfortunately, over 9,000 employees were let go by Microsoft, not the Xbox division, because those particular people were not in AI and cloud driven roles. I want people to understand that and do your own research on this. Moving forward, multiple 6+ game cancellations and partial studio shutdowns. Okay. Now, I can speak to this. Now, all 6 games, I can't tell off the top of my head, but one of them in particular, the game called Scalebound. And I think a lot of people are unaware of this. Now, the company responsible for that failure of a game was Platinum Games. Yes, the same Platinum Games that made this Bayonetta franchise, which I've never played, but I've heard okay things about it. And the very same Platinum Games that we have found out that basically Team Ninja lied. That's a whole nother video, but just to cover that real quick, when it comes to the upcoming Ninja Gaiden 4, Team Ninja made people believe that they actually had a say in what was going on with the development of Ninja Gaiden 4, when we later found out that Platinum Games are basically the ones that have developed Ninja Gaiden 4 from start to finish. Basically, that it's their game. And that's why they're pushing that emo-looking character, Yakumo. But anyway, I just say that to say that that company, Platinum Games, they created or was going to create a game called Scalebound. Many of you probably may or may not even remember this game. That game was in development hell for many, many years, probably close to 10 years, Phil Spencer, in his infinite patience and the way that Microsoft handles things when it comes to third-party developers making games for their platform, Microsoft, or should I say Xbox, has a very hands-off approach. Xbox does not micromanage you as a developer if you're going to make a game on their platform. They're basically looking at it as, what do you as the developer need from me, Xbox, to make your vision come true? Whether it's money, maybe some additional manpower resources. So basically what ends up happening is Scalebound was just going to be nothing really special. It was just an action type game. You're on dragons. It's third person action game. It was not a game that needed years upon years upon years of development. This is not Elden Ring. This is not Sekiro. This is not Cyberpunk. This is not Grand Theft Auto. This is just a run-of-the-mill third-person dragon riding action game. So what ends up happening is, for that particular game, as a lot of people don't know, and they literally fucking called for Phil Spencer's resignation, because I remember this shit like it was yesterday. They basically kept coming to Phil Spencer over and over and over again for more money, more time, more money, more time. And eventually they decided, look, I'm going to cut my losses because this game is not happening. And the one time they actually did show the game at an Xbox event, the game looked god awful. It was ridden with bugs, and the performance of the game was laughable. I don't even think the game was running at 30 frames per second. So Microsoft pulled the plug. Now, that was one game. The other game was, I believe, Perfect Dark. That game, same deal. So I understand people want to lay the blame with cancellations for Phil Spencer and his team, but it's funny to me how you don't ever look at the people that were directly responsible for getting those games out. That has fuck all to do with Phil Spencer, but everything to do with the studio heads of those development teams that failed to deliver a game under a pretty particular deadline, because that's how business runs. If I commission you to do something, you have a deadline. If you fail to meet that deadline, you can try to petition for an increase, which I'm sure Phil Spencer and his team gave a lot of these development studios many extensions, gave them a lot of money, gave them a lot of resources. And yet and still, these 6 games that this guy, or 6+ games, they failed to deliver. So what is Microsoft supposed to do? Phil Spencer and his team keep pumping money into a title that is well beyond the time it should have came out. Because when the game does come out, it will be dated. Because if a game is supposed to come out in 2020 and now it's being pushed back to damn near 2023, there's a chance that game is not going to perform well in sales. It's going to look dated, and especially if it's not running well. So let me move on. So now we have, he says, insane Game Pass. Like I said earlier, remember what I said earlier in the video? I said the term of 50%. Do you think if he would have changed, if he would have it listed as insane Game Pass Ultimate, $10 increase, what sounds more impactful, $10 or 50%? You guessed it, it's 50%. 50% is going to sound more impactful than just saying $10. That's just the truth. It's all about perception and what words you choose to use. That's why when I see other people here, when they're utilizing these terms of $360, you know, oh, it's a $360 for to use Game Pass Ultimate for an entire year. They like to throw that word around, that number, that numeric value. And also, to go back again, they like to utilize, oh, it's a 50% increase. It's $10. Also, let me give you people an example of what would really cause real outrage. Now, this is something that Microsoft has not done, but I think people need to understand what a real issue is. If Microsoft were to come out and say, moving forward at this particular date and year, all Game Pass subscribers, if you choose to go and subscribe to any one of the 3 tiers of Game Pass, you are hereby locked in to a minimum of a 6-month contract, to where you are locked in. And if you try to cancel, we are going to take away 6 months as a cancellation fee. Now that would be cause for an outrage. I think many people don't understand the full story here, that at any point in time, you can cancel your Microsoft Game Pass Ultimate, Essential, or Premier subscription at any point in time. So if I were to buy my Game Pass Ultimate for October, the minute I buy it, as soon as the money goes through, they get their money, I can cancel it right then and there. And what ends up happening is that Microsoft will send you an email or something letting you know that the cancellation happened, and you will maintain those particular benefits of the service up into the next month. So during that entire month, you are able to enjoy those benefits. Now, I say that to say this because I've said this in 2 videos already. It's ridiculous I'm even making another video on this shit. People are complaining that if you stick with Game Pass Ultimate as it's currently priced, you are essentially spending $360 a year. Now, I did a little bit of math, right? Because I have heard many content creators that say that there's no point in having or purchasing the lower tiers of the Xbox Game Pass model, you know, which is the Essential and the Premier, or the Premium, which I think is Premier or Premium. There's no point, because the only point, and I've seen some content creators say this, is to get the day one releases. So is it wrong of Microsoft to raise the price of something that you actually find valuable, that in addition gives you access to 470 plus games? Because let's face the facts here. At any point in time, you could just go out and buy the fucking game. Now, I did this little experiment. Well, it's not a calculation on my phone. I don't have the best math, but see, if I were to look at $70, which is the price of a game typically, right? If we want to look at day one releases, if you were to buy 5 of these games, you see that price? $350. Now, assuming there are 5 $70 games that you have interest in on the Game Pass, whichever tier, whatever it is. Yeah, you can go and buy those games anytime you want. But you are deciding to continue to pay for a subscription-based service month after month after month after month. Now, I can tell you this beyond a shadow of a doubt. Nobody that is on this Game Pass subscription is playing every single game on Game Pass. No one is doing that. I am not playing 470 games on Game Pass Ultimate. I'm playing a lot. Sometimes I might play up to 20 games. I play a lot of different games, and especially as a content creator, I play a lot of things, and I do feel it has value as a content creator, by the way, that you're able to stream all of these games. So you have a wide variety, but that's a whole different topic. But the point is, Game Pass has value to me because I play a lot. I utilize the service. So I want to share something else because I have referenced this in the past. So let's share my screen again. And I want to show this particular article, and I'm glad I have it saved. And this part from Gaming Bolt, and it shows this right here. Game Pass is not for everybody. Now, this article was on April 16th, 2025. Now, this is one of the reasons why I respect Phil Spencer a lot, because he did not have to fucking say this. He could have easily said, Game Pass is for everybody. Buy it. But he goes on to say, and I just want to show this particular quote. I think it shows here. He says, for me, I look at Game Pass as a healthy option for certain people. It's not for everyone. If you play 1 or 2 games a year, Game Pass probably isn't the right business model for you. You should just buy those 2 games, and that would make total sense. But I want you to have choice. He goes on to say, I've always thought about Game Pass as just another option for somebody who wants to play. We have many business models for people playing from free to play, buying games, discounted games. Game Pass is an option. Like, I find this so incredibly disingenuous, the amount of fucking outrage that people are having over a subscription service that gives you 470 plus games at the ultimate tier level because it's a $10 increase. Then I've seen other people that would say, oh, there's no point in having the lower tiers because they don't really offer you any value. And they also say that the prices are kind of like the same from what I understood. And I've seen a few content creators say this. You know, those content creators they're far larger than my channel, but they're using all this clickbait bullshit fucking headlines and being very disingenuous about it. So let me just paint the clearer picture here for those unaware. To my knowledge, the lowest tier of Game Pass currently right now, as it has been rebranded to Essentials, before it was referred to, I believe, Game Pass Core. And I think even before that, I think it was Game Pass Console or something like that. Do you know how many games was actually on that particular tier? 25 or 25 plus. Oh, and also, you did not have access to anything from the cloud. So you couldn't stream your games. You couldn't stream the game that is in the actual tier of the core and now the essential. And you did not have Xbox multiplayer access. Because before, you needed, way back, you had to buy Xbox Live Gold. And then eventually Microsoft phased that out and integrated the online capability to play multiplayer games online with your friends and shit like that. They integrated that into Game Pass Ultimate. So you needed a Game Pass Ultimate membership to play online. Now, I know this because there were times where I'm poor. I live in New York, right? And I'm trying to build my content. And this is, again, why I hope that you guys subscribe and join the channel, by the way. But anyway, to move on, I just wanted to do that little shameless plug. So there was a time where I couldn't afford Game Pass Ultimate for one particular month. So I chose to go back down to, I believe it was Core at the time. I did not have access to Xbox multiplayer. And of course, me being a Tekken 8 player and a big fighting game player, I kind of need to have online multiplayer. So I was kind of upset and surprised that, oh shit, wow, I had access to whatever games was in that particular tier of Game Pass at the low end, but I did not have cloud access and I did not have multiplayer. You know what's funny that people are not mentioning is that currently right now with the rebranding, Microsoft offers you multiplayer and cloud functionality across every single Game Pass tier. Not just Ultimate, but also one level below, Premier, and the lowest level under that, Essential. So if you really think about it, you can basically, if you're just focused on playing online multiplayer games and you just want to play, whatever online, you could just buy and continue on with Game Pass Essential. And as I mentioned before, you had about 25 games. I think it was like 25 plus games. You know how many games you have access to now? You have access to, I think, about 67 games. So not only did Microsoft add the cloud functionality and the ability to have multiplayer access across all three tiers of Game Pass, but they also increased the amount of games you have for each tier. Another example is the premium, the middle tier, which is about $15 or $16. Now, the games of that tier, I think the last I checked was about 357 games that you have access to. Both, like I said, an increase in the games, the integration of cloud and multiplayer. Because back before, those two aspects were only available for Game Pass Ultimate. Back when it was $16.99 and then they raised it to $19.99 and now it's at $30. Even back during the times when it was $16 and then eventually up to $20, cloud and multiplayer were only in Game Pass Ultimate. So if you wanted to be on multiplayer, now I don't believe that counts for the free to play games. Like if you're playing like Roblox or like those free to play games. I don't think you needed a Game Pass multiplayer to play as long as you pay your internet bill. But the Xbox centric games, like I said, I play Tekken 8. And in order for me to play against my friends online in Tekken 8 or Street Fighter 6 or whatever, Mortal Kombat 11, whatever, you needed a Game Pass Ultimate membership for that. Now you don't. Now you can literally pay the $10 at the low end to get that functionality. But here's the problem for some is that, well, you want those day one releases. Well, here's something else Microsoft has done, that they're already committing to having those day one releases being released at the middle tier within a year of release. Now that may be different. It might be the whole year. It might be 6 months. It might be 4 months. But it depends on you. If you're patient. So for instance, a game like I think Stalker 2. Stalker 2 is now, I believe, in the premium Game Pass membership. When it was released, it was considered a day one whatever, and it was only in the ultimate version, the ultimate tier. So now, the way things are at this point is that the day one releases that are what drive the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate tier, eventually those games will find their way onto the Xbox Premium, which is the tier that is directly underneath Ultimate. Now, of course, the wait time may be different based on the game, but I like that is also a benefit or what have you, whatever, the lack of a better word. See, these are things that people are not really saying. I haven't heard them say it. If they have said it, I just haven't come across that particular content. All I have been seeing is Xbox is doomed, Xbox is dead. You know, like that one particular YouTuber that has been saying that Xbox is dead for like the last 20 years. In fact, hold up. Let me just see if I can find something else here. No, wait a second. I messed up there. All right, let's go back to Twitter. So let me scroll down. Because I mean, it just seems real crazy. Like Microsoft, at the end of the day, it is a business. They are in the business to make money. Not all decisions are going to be well received by the populace. Do you think anybody wants to spend more money? It's absolutely crazy. Like, it's just funny to me that people are like, literally, I scroll through Twitter and all I see is just like this guy. Like, this guy has been making content forever. I don't even watch this guy's content. He just rages out. Look at what this guy says. The Xbox Game Pass is officially dead. Corporate greed. And mind you, you see where it says 50%? You notice how they, like I said, they always say 50%. Because like I said, 50% sounds more impactful than just simply saying it's a $10 increase month after month over a service that you can, basically it's a ride you can get off at any time. You don't have to stay on the fucking ride, because if you are staying on the ride to play whatever particular game you want, then you just might as well buy the goddamn game. That, like, this is where and I've said this in the previous two videos, and I'm like, how, like, I don't know if people are aware of this. People, Microsoft does not lock you into a contract. Microsoft does not say that when you buy one of our tiers of Game Pass, you are hereby locked in for an entire year where you are guaranteed to pay $360 if you are a Game Pass Ultimate member, month after month over the course of 1 year. No, Microsoft basically says this is a ride that you can get on and get off whenever you so choose. It is up to you. And I've even showed you the article again, and I'll show it here again, where Phil Spencer has said that Game Pass is not for everyone. So again, this is it. Like, if you are the person that only plays, here we go, in case people missed it. If you are the person that only plays 1 or 2 games a year, and he's using that as an example, you can also put this up to maybe 5 or however many games, then you might as well just buy those games over the course of a year. So why do you choose to stay on Game Pass? Unless you see the value in it, and you're upset with Microsoft for raising their prices off of their product, which is something that every fucking business has been doing since the inception of capitalism. Like, this is fucking wild to me. Do you know that Microsoft, if they really wanted to, they could have fucking raised this shit to $50 fucking dollars. They could have raised this shit to $40. They could have fucking raised it to whatever they wanted, with it obviously not $100 a month. And I would not like $50 a month, But I understand that things are not going to remain static. I understand that. So how is it that you, as a grown-ass man or woman, are naive to think, which are mostly the content creators out there, and you guys know exactly who you are, and I'm directing it to you, the content creators that got 100,000 followers, subscribers, where, my channel's not even a blip on many people's radar, but I have to be the voice of fucking reason here. Because the fact is that prices will go up. Now, here's the thing I want to fucking say on this. And maybe in my rant, maybe I didn't mention, maybe I did mention it, but I'm going to mention it again. Where was this fucking outrage? Where was this outrage when Sony came out with this PS5 Pro? That fucking console, I knew from the very jump, from Jump Street, that was a cash grab. That console is absolutely a waste of fucking money. Absolutely a waste of money. Especially with the fact that the PlayStation 6 is the best kept secret or worst kept secret it's going to release, rendering that console pointless. This is why I am glad that Microsoft did not decide to release a mid-gen console. Do you know why? And this is, I wanted to make a video on this, but let me educate some people here. Do you know why there even was a PS4 Pro? Do you even know why there was an Xbox Series X in the first place? Hold on for a second. Hold on. I'll do one. Here we go. Here we go. I'll show and prove. See this right here? See this right here? This console right here. Do you know why the Xbox One X? Do you even know why the Xbox One X was even made? The PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X was made specifically to give console players the experience of 4K. Because at the time of those consoles being released, the installed base of 4K TVs across the United States was very, very, very small. That is a fact. If you go and do your research on the time of those consoles, maybe a few years prior or a couple of years prior, the installed base of 4K TVs across the United States was very small. Now, on the PC end, PC players have been they've been enjoying 4K, 60 frames, 120 frames for fucking forever. But on the console side, that wasn't the case. So before Microsoft and Sony were to release their Series X or PS5 or whatever they decide, because at that time, us, the consumer, we don't know what's going on. So Microsoft and Sony, I don't know who came up with the idea first, maybe both of them. They realized that why should we commit resources to put out a 4K capable, a real next gen upgrade in consoles? Why should we do that if we already look at the data and see that the vast majority of the United States doesn't even have a 4K TV in their household? So we would be putting out a very powerful yet costly console to manufacture to a country who doesn't even have the television necessary to play the console on. So that's why they decided to come out with the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro to get people to adopt 4K televisions. And wouldn't you fucking know, if you would look at the installed base of 4K TVs current day, it is 100% a 180-degree turn from what it was years prior. But what Sony decided to do, since we want to talk about greed, they thought that, if we come out with a PS5 Pro, much like how we got people to buy the PS4 Pro, they'll fucking buy it. But Sony, the dumb fucks that they are, they failed to realize that the main reason for that mid-gen update was to get console players on board with having 4K visuals. That's why. And to draw up a adoption of 4K TVs across the United States. Look, I'm giving you guys a lot of gems here, so I hope you guys fucking subscribe and join my channel, man, because I'm giving you guys more information that you're not going to hear from any of these fucking content creators. But anyway, because I'm being real right now. I could have just done this as a fucking live stream, because this is so crazy that so many people do not understand these facts. So I knew when Sony came out with that console, PS5 Pro, it was a cash grab through and through. But where was the outrage over that? That console is damn near $700+. If you factor in all of the tax, and if you want, and I believe if you wanted certain accessories for the console to do certain things, I think if you bought everything, it's upwards of almost $900. So where was the outrage on that? Where is the outrage on Nintendo for consistently giving Nintendo fans, as scummy as fucking Nintendo is, constantly coming out with next-gen hardware that is barely even as powerful as what we have current gen? So they have the fucking nerve to release the Nintendo Switch 1.5, because that's what I really call that piece of shit. Actually, no, I'll take that back. It's a capable little console. I'm pretty sure the people in Nintendo, they worked hard on it, but no way is a Nintendo Switch 2 or really 1.5 is worth $500. So you mean to tell me that Nintendo Switch 2 is worth the same price as what I paid for my Xbox Series X? Get the fuck off the planet. But where was the outrage on that? Where was all this? Where was the outrage on Nintendo selling gimped and compromised consoles, and also removing the ability for you to file a class action lawsuit against that company in the event they completely screw you and you can't do nothing about it? I mean, sure, there was some fuss, but let's be clear. When it comes to the video game industry, Microsoft has been the red-headed stepchild since the fucking beginning. In America, and I hate to say this, and I hate to be the one to say this, but in my country of the United States of America, Americans will literally suck the dick of Sony and Nintendo no matter what the fuck they do. But let Microsoft, an American company, by the way, let them do anything, and they have the magnifying glass on them, and Americans are ready to crucify Xbox for any little infraction that they do. No company is perfect. There are things about Microsoft, there are things about the Xbox division that I do not like. I do not like the woke culture. I do not like the DEI bullshit. I don't like the gay mental illness fuckery. I don't like any of that. I don't. However, when it comes to Game Pass, that was and is a shining light when it comes to the gaming industry, especially for console gamers. And the fact that there are so many people out there that having all this outrage over $10 fucking to gain access to something that gives you very strong cloud support, because Microsoft invests millions, if not billions, into cloud infrastructure. Also, the fact that you also have your Xbox multiplayer that is, as I said, now on every tier of Game Pass, not just Ultimate. And 470 or whatever, 87, I forgot the exact number, but it's over 470 games. So you're mad that Microsoft is charging an additional $10 for that? And you're also mad that Microsoft on their own platform are doing aggressive sales pitches to try to get more customers? Are you fucking serious? Are you dumb? So I guess those same people out there, yes, you, people who probably think like you, are upset whenever you see a commercial come on the screen that's trying to get you to buy that new iPhone, that's trying to get you to buy that fucking pumpkin spice latte from fucking Starbucks that is basically fucking trash. That has nothing but fucking chemicals in that shit. But you're gonna go and spend whatever the fuck they're gonna charge you for it. These are same people that probably have Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Paramount, Peacock, and every other fucking subscription service under the sun, but you're going to get upset because Microsoft is charging an additional $10 for Game Pass. Are you fucking serious? Like, you can't make this up. And then the other argument I hear is this. The other argument is, oh, well, Microsoft is a... Let's look at Microsoft stock right now, actually. Hold up. Let's look at their stock real quick. I want to actually put this on the screen. So we're going to look at Microsoft stock, and I think my laptop is about to die, so I'm going to have to plug this in. But let's look at Yahoo Finance, right? We'll look at Yahoo Finance, and we're going to go to my recent stock quotes. I think this is it, right? Okay. So currently, I have all of the stock quotes available right there. I got to charge my laptop. But ultimately, if you look, you see Microsoft is trading at $517, right? $517.35. Now, if you look at the other companies, Sony, $28, Nintendo, $21. Now, I have seen people show that Microsoft, they had a dip in their stock or whatever the case is. In fact, let me see if I can see this. Okay, so currently at the time of this recording, if we were to look at, so this is one day, right? So this is today. So Microsoft, you see Microsoft went up. They had a peak here at 949. And then they had a decline right here. But at the end of the day, Microsoft is sitting very, very well. Now, when you look at the other companies, right, with Nintendo and Sony, look at this. These guys are fucking small fish compared. Now, you could probably argue, well, Nintendo only does video games, not to make this a stock video, but Sony, like Microsoft, they have their hands in other pots more than just gaming. And look at Sony, $28. Microsoft, if it wasn't for FCC ruling and other shit like that, Microsoft could essentially buy and swallow Sony and Nintendo whole if they really wanted to. Now, with all of this money, Microsoft has been investing in cloud and AI technology, as I stated. Now, does that make all of their decisions that I stand by? No, it does not. But I think 100% that this outrage over a $10 increase of Game Pass is absolutely ridiculous. But at the end of the day, many of these content creators that some of you actually follow, many of these Instagram or Twitter or X, most of these guys that you guys follow, they literally had nothing else better to really report on but to continually harp on a $10 increase for something that gives you a shit ton of value. And then they fucking lie, as I basically hearkened prior, that the other services are pointless, there's no enhancements, but yet and still I just broke down and said that even at the lowest end, at the lowest tier of Microsoft Essentials tier Game Pass, you now have access to cloud technology as well as the Xbox multiplayer, two things that were only available, and I keep saying this, I keep repeating this, so I apologize, they were only available at the highest tier of Game Pass Ultimate. So right then and there, they're cherry picking their points. That's what a lot of people tend to do. They cherry pick certain points. Even if I were to go back and just reference something like Tekken 8, I think most of my subscribers know that I have a lot of issues with the game of Tekken 8 made by Namco Bandai. I call for a lot of the bullshit mechanics. I call them out, but I also will reference some of the good positive aspects about the game as well. But do people reference the times or the things or the aspects of Tekken 8 that I say that's positive? No, they just want to harp on the negative. And I guess as a smaller content creator, I'm actually starting to see that drama and negative rage bait content seems to fucking sell because so many people want to see this type of shit. I personally don't like to always focus on the negative. Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes, yeah, it does help you with views. But you know what? I much rather try to give a broader look. Now, if there's something that I do find issue with, I'm going to raise it. But when it comes to Microsoft Game Pass, this is not it. This is not it, Chief. This is not it. It's not. A $10 increase over a service that you can jump on and off at your fucking leisure. If you are so hell-bent on playing whatever games you want, whether it's day one releases, which you do need the Ultimate Edition for, or any other game that you might see across the Premier version, which is the mid-tier, or the Essential, if you are only playing those particular games, then you might as well just buy the fucking game, which goes back to the point that I referenced in the article of Phil Spencer saying that Game Pass, it's not for everybody. And it's like, I have to keep putting this out there. I have to keep saying this. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous that people are just continuously doing this. It's so disingenuous. So, you know, look, if you want to keep on hating on Microsoft, that is your prerogative. That's your business. I guess as a content creator, if that's what you have to do to get your little views on your channel, so be it. But you know what? For my subscribers and my own channel, I like to at least try to have a balanced or measured approach. Of course, if there is something that is egregious, I'm going to speak on it. But a $10 increase for Game Pass, that's absolutely ridiculous. This is not anything that I even bat my eye at. Like, as soon as I saw the announcement, I was like, oh, okay, they're raising the price. Just like I didn't go crazy when Netflix raised their fucking prices. Like this is absolutely ridiculous. Like I said, and I have been repeating myself here, but look, man, this got to be said. If Microsoft were to come out and say, moving forward, any person that is a Game Pass member, regardless of the tier, you are now locked into a contract for X amount of months over the course of a year. Now that is what you can rage over. Because now that would basically mean if I buy Game Pass in January, but times is rough toward the end of the month, and I cannot do Game Pass for February and March, and I try to cancel it, now I can't, and I'm hit with a cancellation fee. That is what you have outrage for, not for this bullshit. It is amazing to me how people are they're so up in arms over a $10 increase over a service that you can cancel at any fucking time. And there are people that actually find fault with a company that is choosing to advertise their services and or products on their own fucking platform, something that if you don't want to see it, you can actually cut it off in the settings. You cannot make this shit up, man. You can't make this up. This is absolutely ridiculous. And a lot of you content creators should be fucking shameful of yourselves. You should be ashamed of yourself. This has to be the most low-hanging fruit. Because I would love for you guys to have this same level of vitriol that you have from Microsoft, to have it for Nintendo, for over the fuckery that company keeps doing. But you know why you don't? Because they're a Japanese company. I'm going to come out and fucking say it. Sony, Japanese company. They cannot do no wrong in America's eyes. But an American company, Microsoft, Xbox, that merely charges $10 extra for a fucking service that you can cancel at any point in time. You can hop on, you can hop off, you can hop on, you can hop off. But because they're charging $10 for something that gives you access for 470 plus games, you raise hell over that. But you don't raise hell over the fucking scam, the PS5 Pro scam. Or if you did, it was over in a couple of days. Give me a fucking break, man. Anyway, this is Red with Red Related. Like I said at the beginning of this video, if you are a PS4, if you're a PlayStation fanboy, Nintendo fanboy, or one of these content creators that take issue with what I say, I'm pretty sure those guys didn't stick with this video anyway. But if you actually happen to watch this entire hour plus long video, salute to you. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and or joining, I would say, because I need as much financial help. Because unlike a lot of these other content creators, I'm not making hundreds and thousands of dollars. I'm not a fucking millionaire. I literally am alone here in New York City, Brooklyn. And I'm just trying to make my ends meet and doing what I can with my own views, with my little microphone and my webcam, from my lips to your ears. So hopefully you'll show me some love, show me some support. And because at least over here, there's no fucking shilling over here. And I may not be first with the news, but you can rest assured that I'm going to give a measured take. And I'm going to call out the bullshit. And a $10 increase for Microsoft Game Pass Ultimate is not fucking egregious at all. It's not egregious at all. This is just something that other content creators, they had nothing else better to report on today, and they just want to keep fanning those fucking flames. And that's just what it is. Real talk. Anyway, I'm out of here.